The bandwidth for this episode of Gun Guy Radio is sponsored by the Firearms Radio Network. Firearmsradio.tv.
Welcome to episode 90 of Gun Guy Radio. This is the podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challen, and this is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without politics. And Brownells helps make this episode of Gun Guy Radio possible. Selection, service, and satisfaction. Find it all at Brownells. Please go to gunguyradio.com/satisfaction. And Greg Balkin from Tactical Paradise, Greg the Bomb Balkin, is joining us.
That's right. I also make this show possible.
Live from sunny California, right?
It is sunny out here. You can see on the windows behind me, there's sun shining in.
Shun.
I'm hanging out with Jake Challenge too much.
Yeah, So we have a few announcements before we get started. So the Firearms Insider website has launched. Wow, really? I should go to this. Have you been to the Firearms Insider website?
I have.
Yeah.
I think they stole my website colors, so I think there's a copyright issue there.
Oh, did we? We stole your theme?
I think so.
Oh. Well,
no, I have checked it out. It's pretty cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, so we have the blog, and Mike launched the blog with a blog post called The Next Generation Shooters. It starts with us. And then Ryan also has a handgunning tip on there. And then Nikki Tripolo also has a blog post. And then we have, I'm surprised how many reviews we already have. We have, I mean, not a ton, but we have more than a full page of, a variety of reviews, Phobos gear, Frog Lube, the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522, Raven concealment holster, 6-hour P220 Elite Dark T. This sounds like a rich guy's gun. Oh, Reed did this. Yeah, it would be.
That is a rich guy's gun.
Yeah. So, a lot of cool stuff. Have you checked any of this out yet?
Yes, I have. I've read the Phobos review, and I think it got a 4 out of 10. So Steve was not super happy with the Phobos.
Oh, did it really? Wow, Phobos is not going to be a sponsor anytime soon.
No, unfortunately not. And then
bad. A 4 is bad. Wow.
Yeah, I looked at the TLR1, I think, review that I forget who did. I think Ryan Cross did that review.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
and so at the bottom of all these reviews is a 10-point rating system. It's right under the share buttons, and so it's 10 stars. Eventually maybe I can upgrade these to like bullets or cartridges or
10 bullets.
Yeah, probably not bullets, but I don't know, something. So you can leave your own. What, is that a dumb idea?
No, I like the 10 bullets, but you said not bullets. But
so you can leave your own rating on here, and it will average after you get a few ratings. It will average. So Steve gave the Phobos a 4 out of 10. So if you think, hey, that's really a 10 out of 10, you can do that. And then right below that, leave a comment. Say, hey, hi, Steve. You're dreamy looking, but I think you're wrong on this review. And next time I'm in Texas, do you have time for dinner? And you can hit enter, and then Steve will respond, and who knows what he'll say. And we also have 2 new podcasts on the Firearms Insider site, and soon to be on iTunes. They'll be up on iTunes this next week. I've just been really busy with launching this, but Devin on the Gun and Gear podcast and Nikki Tripolo on the Firearms Insider podcast. And Devin's already got 2 episodes out. The first episode is just talking about him, who he is, get to know him a little bit. And then second episode, he did everyday carry items. And then the Firearms Insider Radio, Nikki did her first episode with a young man named what Gage? He's 9?
Gage, yes.
I think.
Yes.
And because the launch theme for the Firearms Insider website as a whole is the next generation. So like the blog posts are kind of themed that way, and also some of these podcast episodes. And Carol put up on the community side, put up a great blog post called Health and Fitness for the Next Generation. And that post is really cool. And then, we're still working on building out the site. It's still in its infancy, but, check it out. Let me know what you think. Firearmsinsider.tv. And if you want to contribute any reviews or even blog posts, we'd love to have you contribute. You can email Mike at firearmsinsider.tv. So Mike Emmert, formerly from the God and Guns podcast, is the director of the Firearms Insider website. And shoot him an email. He'll give you some instructions on the format that we would like the reviews in. And it's up to you. You can do a written review, an audio review, or a video review. Either one of those. Just connect with Mike at firearmsinsider.tv. Greg, are you doing any reviews?
Yes, I am.
Have you?
I'm doing.
Are any of yours up yet? I haven't even.
No, they're supposed to be delivered to Mike by the end of tomorrow. So I've got 2 reviews coming in.
Oh, that's your deadline. Okay.
That's my deadline, yeah.
Wow.
I'm reviewing a flashlight and a inside the waistband holster.
Very, very cool. And I have reviews stacking up everywhere. I got one right here that I still need to do. So, but the battery's charging for it. So who knew you had a battery in an AR-15? But
that's funny.
So and check it out, firearmsinsider.tv. So the main topic for this episode, we're talking. This is going to be a future blog post, or this is derived from a future blog post. It's like not a blog post word from word, but I wanted to talk a little bit about. I'm titling this "Digital Gun Rights: How the Gun Rights Community Can Cut the Cord," and by cord I mean traditional media like magazines, broadcast TV, cable TV, satellite TV, because we want there's multiple aspects of fighting for the Second Amendment. There's obviously legislative. There's obviously judicial, court cases, Supreme Court cases, which we've made a lot of progress in, and we've also made a lot of progress in legislative. Now, we don't talk about politics on Gun Guy Radio, and I think there's some other places that we need to focus, like the marketplace and media, that I think sometimes we focus way too much on the politics and stuff because it's, I don't know, I guess it's kind of in your face, and it's what the NRA is always talking about. What do you think, Greg? Am I overstating that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that something needs to change, and that we do need to be pursuing new alternatives to growing the gun, the next generation with gun rights and
right. And I guess I'm not saying that legislative and judicial and those forms of fighting for gun rights are any less important. Those may be the most important. I'm not denying that. I'm not trying to, say.
You're just trying not to talk about it.
I'm just trying not to talk about it. Correct. Because Gun Guy Radio, politics free, right? So,
absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about so the average. I hate to say NRA member here, but gun rights supporter, NRA member. I don't know. I might use those terms interchangeably here. Forgive me. But when you think of that, I think you think the average age is probably, and I should have looked up the statistic. Maybe you can pull this, Greg. Average age, for an NRA or gun rights supporters, probably leaning closer to the century mark than it is the next generation. Than it is the, in next generation. I could be talking about anywhere from little kid like my children that are 4 years old and younger up through, even teenage, college age. I mean, I guess that definition can be somewhat relative. But how does this older generation that are, I don't know, kind of the backbone of the firearms movement, because there's so many of them, because they're, I don't know, I'm going to get in trouble here. I'm going to get people saying I'm anti-NRA and stuff, but that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to, how do these people consume media? So I'm thinking of my dad. My dad's 60, I should know this, like 66, 67, and my grandpa he just turned 80, probably 86, 85. So I'm thinking of those two generations, this older generation. How do they watch TV?
You mean how do they assume or consume media? Because that's what I was going to say, is that they consume media by watching TV. Because
how do they get their news? Right.
It's TV, and the funny thing is it's talk radio.
Right. Yeah.
Really, I don't think. It's not Facebook. It's not. It could be, Yahoo News or whatever, or email chain letters. But typically, I'm trying to think of my dad, because my dad is 60. I should know this too. I think my dad's 67. I don't know. But same thing. He consumes all his media through talk radio and through watching TV.
So like my grandpa here, not to throw him under the bus, but like sometimes I'll because my studio I rent in a barn, basically. I built out this pretty much professional air quote studio here, but I rent this from my grandpa. So sometimes I go in the house for dinner or to whatever, and like if it's around that 6 o'clock news time, or he'll eat dinner and he's gone. I mean, he's got to watch that 6 o'clock news, and then he watches it again at 7, 9, and 10 or whatever, and he'll watch like 60 Minutes, 2020. I mean, when I was a little kid and I used to stay the night at my grandparents', that was like the TV shows, 60 Minutes and 20 Minutes, and then every time they would do a story on a Chevy truck blowing up because you dropped something on it, or those paranoid, I don't know, maybe this is just my family, but overly paranoid because I saw it on 60 Minutes, and they do anti-gun stuff and stuff like that too. But my point is that that's not how I get my news. That's not how I get my information.
No.
And picture my kids. How are they going to get their news and their information? So my son that's 4, he gets his cartoons and kid shows mainly through an iPad mini or a Kindle Fire, or even my wife's iPhone. And then we have a Roku streaming device on top of the TV, internet streaming, where you can stream Netflix, Amazon, blah blah blah. So just think about that. Think about 20 years from now, my son, when he's coming out of college, what the world's going to look like, how he's going to consume, entertainment, news, any of that. Because I told my wife, I said, she was a little bit hesitant about letting them play with the iPad mini and stuff like that so much. And I was like, honey, by the time they're in high school, that is like some touch device is going to be their main educational computer, whatever you call it, they're probably not going to even have paper books. They're probably not going to have, anything that we had.
Yeah. Now, I'm amazed at how fast they absorb and know how to use those kind of devices. Even I have a niece that's 6 years old, and to be honest, I'm an idiot, and I couldn't pass this level of Angry Birds with my iPhone, and I handed her the phone and asked her to pass it and she totally did. And I'm like, I've been trying for 2 weeks to pass this stupid level. And she 6 years old, smoked me at it, in 3 tries. And I couldn't believe, I'm like, how do you even know how to use an iPhone?
That's exactly my point. Look how many, they're going to be light years ahead of just us that are in our 30s, more so than I think we're ahead of our parents' generation. I don't think the technology leap, from my parents' generation to us is nearly as far as it's going to be from us to our kids.
That's scary.
So this is what. So I guess this episode and some of these blog posts I'm going to write are going to be more asking questions than anything else, because I don't necessarily have these answers. But I think these are questions we have to answer, and we have to answer now, because if we wait till later, it's going to be too late, or it might be too late. Now I'm sounding like a scaremonger, so our generation, Greg, at least my wife and I, we canceled cable 6 years ago. We stream everything. If I ever have time to watch something, we stream it through the TV, smart TV, the Roku device, Apple TV, whatever. I think that's what a lot of people in our generation are doing. Do you see that, Greg?
Yeah, we still have cable, but we're planning on canceling it and going to the streaming route of, Netflix, Amazon, and Roku. But
right, I think I might be in the early adopter on some of this stuff, but I see peers of mine that are not necessarily technology savvy going this route in just a few years.
Yeah. And I would agree, because, like you said, though, we have cable, but we don't watch anything in real-time TV. Everything is DVR'd,
exactly.
or we're watching it on demand later on the shows we already missed. And, nothing is – we don't have to be home now to catch the show right when it comes on.
Yeah, exactly. And, my dad has to get home to watch, whatever, still. He still does that. If not, he's like, get this, he still records stuff on a VHS tape off the TV.
That's awesome. So I don't even have a VCR.
Well, a few years from now, people aren't even going to have DVD players necessarily.
Well, they're saying even CD players are going away. That my brother just bought a brand new 2013 Dodge pickup, and it doesn't have a CD player in it. That blew my mind.
I haven't had a CD player for probably about as long as I haven't had cable. Seriously.
I know, but I see it, but I was shocked that a brand new truck coming off the factory line doesn't even have a CD player. That doesn't surprise
me at all, because next year you're going to be able to get podcasts right from your dashboard.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah. Well, that's what. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, that's one of the things just about the truck is you plug your iPhone in and you actually control your iPhone music or your, whatever your playlist off the controls inside the truck, off the radio controls, which
iOS
technology blew me away.
Apple iOS for cars. Maybe that's one that has it in it. That's what it sounds like. Or they're similar, Ford has a Ford Sync and stuff like that. And so there's even apps in some of the new Fords that you can stream Stitcher. So right now you could be listening to Gun Guy Radio on Stitcher through your car dashboard without any smartphone.
Wow.
So
that would be great.
Yeah, that's how things are going. So part of me doing this is I really want to encourage the outdoor and firearms industry to start looking at these new digital avenues more. Not just because I have a network of podcasts that are digital that they can sponsor, but because, regardless if it's with the Firearms Radio Network or not, there's all these outdoor TV shows that I cannot watch because they do not stream in any form online. And I'm not going to get cable or satellite just to watch this one or two shows. I mean, forget that. I mean, how much is the cheapest package that would include that? It would be, it's over $40 a month, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy to me. Why would I do that for one or two outdoor TV shows? I mean, they're good shows, but I can't justify that. And I don't have the time either. I'd have to get the DVR. So that would put me, up towards $100 mark.
But how do you, for me, I'm not even aware of the gun shows. I'm saying that with air quotation marks, on TV. How do I even find that they're advertised? Because to be honest, if I want to go watch something gun, I jump on YouTube and I search whatever gun thing I'm interested at the moment. I watch it, I can spend 3 hours watching Springfield XDS reviews or,
right.
Shooting or, everything XDS on, waste 3 hours doing that on YouTube. And that's where I think the manufacturers need to go and start doing their own, like you said, Jake, either doing podcasts or, on-demand radio or YouTube or getting on the internet. I mean, because I'm shocked how many, manufacturers and even just gun stores in general that don't have great websites or any
exactly,
of that stuff.
Or YouTube pages or anything like that. And if you get back to the basics, that's a big issue too. But for this episode, I'm just talking about the outdoor media. The outdoor. I mean, even. NRA is starting to put some stuff out. Like they started putting Cam and Company radio show up on iTunes. Ruger actually has some video, training stuff up on iTunes, which is very, very cool.
Isn't it old?
No, they just launched a whole new multiple channels of it. They even have. I need to tell Carol this from Fat to Fit. Carol, if you actually listen to this show, it's like outdoor fitness or something, and it's pretty good. I mean, they're short. They're like bite size, 5 minute, something like that.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's a step in the right direction. But here's what I want. I want the full blown. Michael Bain makes some of the best outdoor TV shows, and as far as I know, currently you still cannot stream a lot of stuff on the Outdoor Channel. So I want to be able to see those shows show up. They don't have to show up right away. They could show up 6 months later on, Amazon Prime. They could show up in the Apple Store. They could show up on Hulu. They could show up in so many places because I want to watch it. If I ever get some time off and my wife goes to bed and I go down to watch some TV, I want to be able to pull up a show I want to watch, because I don't have time to wait for something, to find something in the DVR, to tell my DVR to record something. I don't even have time for that. I want to browse the Amazon Prime store, be like, oh, that looks good. Because that's how everyone, outside, the firearms industry, except for NFL because they're so restrictive with their content, but everything else is on there, or you can buy it in some way. You can get it in some way. Because I want to stream it. I want to stream it, when I want it, where I want it, and on what device I want it. And I'm still in that line from a podcast called Frame Rate. But, seriously. That's how my kids are, and not even my kids, but 5 years, 10 years from now, that's going to be the standard for most things. And I'm just worried the firearms industry isn't going to be there by then.
We're going away.
No, I mean the entertainment news.
Oh.
I'm gonna get so much hate mail from this. I'm gonna get people writing in. I'm 85 years old and I only watch stuff through streaming.
And and I have a Facebook page.
and I am generalizing here. I mean, I know we have many over 65-year-old listeners. Our average listener, though, is 30 to 45, 50, somewhere in there. We have hardly any that are under 22, and very few that are really under 30. I mean, really, it's my generation, and that's the other thing. We need to focus on how to continue gun rights on and activity in the firearms industry and activity in the shooting sports. We need to figure out how to continue that on to the next generation. But first, we have to get this generation doing it, because if this generation stops doing it or doesn't continue to expand doing it, then why would the next generation do it? So, like, the moms and dads of the next generation, they need avenues to watch and stream and consume this outdoor content. I mean, that's part of the mission of the Firearms Radio Network is that we provide audio content, a wide spectrum of it. What eventually I hope to have whatever the subject matter you want, you can get it when you want, where you want, on what device you want it.
Yeah, I'm always amazed. Like, I just was speaking with a young guy. I go to a donut shop more than I should, and there's a young guy there that works there that's into guns and stuff. And I gave him my card, and he actually loaned me tools when I was building my AR-15, and I was like, hey, you should listen to this podcast show that I do. And he's like, what's a podcast? And he's like 22 and had no idea that you could stream on your iPhone podcasts or anything. I mean, even the podcast videos or whatever, there's not just audio podcasts, there's video podcasts. And I just was blown away that he had no clue. And then I went in like a week later, and he was all excited because the last week he'd been searching everywhere and checking all the stuff out. And I'm just like, well, how do we get that out there? Because I feel like everybody knows Apple, especially the younger generation or the next generation. They know Apple. They know Apple products. How do they?
Well, and they have the podcast app right on there. That's the first app anyone downloads, because it says recommended apps. We recommend you download these apps, and most people hit yes. So that's a good question. Why don't people click through that and look at that stuff? That's a separate issue on the podcast front. I'm talking about more generalized here, but it's only a matter of time, before people switch over to, like you said, that new truck, is set up to plug your smartphone into it. It's not set up to play a CD. It's not necessarily set up to even be a radio. It's set up to be basically a streaming device, for your smartphone. So people are going to be doing that more and more. They're going to discover, because you can tell that this is going to just explode. Talking about podcasts here in the next couple of years, because if you look at the iTunes store, if you look at the outdoor category where all of the Firearms Radio Network shows are, or I'm sorry, the sports and recreation category, that's the main category above ours. What do you see? You see, NFL, football, Fox Sports, ESPN, NFL, and these are actually ESPN ran podcasts and NFL ran podcasts. These aren't just fan podcasts. There's dozens of NFL, or I'm sorry, there's a few NFL, but there's dozens of ESPN, branded, it's by the ESPN corporation or whatever. And you're seeing that more and more. In just the last few months, they've just exploded. CBS Sports now has stuff. NBA now has podcasts. So if all these major sport outlets, because if you think about the firearms industry and the outdoor industry, you think about what their main competitor is. Well, it's probably sports like the NFL, wouldn't you say, Craig?
Yeah, I would agree.
Because they both take that time that you might have in the evenings or weekend that you would go shooting, or that you would do an IDPA match, or that you might go hunting or something like that. They take up that same personal time slot, right?
Yeah. A Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon, Monday Night Football. Yeah. It's either Monday Night Football or the AR-15 podcast. I mean, that's, as far as, now that you brought me down the podcast road, as far as podcasts go, that's who our main competitor is, ESPN's and stuff. That's what we bump up against in the main, iTunes category all the time. And someday we will beat them.
That's right.
I don't know. Should I wrap it up? Final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's important for everyone to take people shooting, take the next generation. I mean, every time I go shooting, we always take my nieces with us. And I mean, not every time, but if we can, we take that younger generation with us and stuff. But, at the same time, too, I just hope that, the gun industry, I think, hopefully sees, where the world is headed for consuming digital content.
Right. So you can, I just wanted to ask some questions, just to get some wheels turning, hopefully, and because I don't know the solutions. I mean, I'm just a guy that started podcasting out of my basement a few years back, so.
And now he's moved to his grandparents' backyard.
Hey, it's moving up in the world, right? Hey, I've got high-speed internet in this old horse barn, so, take that.
Nice.
Well, I'd like to thank Duluth Trading Company for sponsoring this episode of Gun Guy Radio. Pretty excited. I got the word that Duluth is actually sending some Duluth gift cards for listener giveaways. So you can maybe get some ballroom jeans or some, long tail tees or any of their other creatively branded products. You can
Buck Naked underwear.
Yes. How is that Buck Naked? Is it holding up for you, Greg?
They are holding up. No blowouts yet.
I hope Duluth's not listening. So gunguyradio.com/Duluth. If you follow that link, it tells Duluth that we're serving them well. And I really appreciate their support of Gun Guy Radio and your support of Duluth. Welcome back to the Gun Guy Radio Product Spotlight, and we have Paul Levy, our correspondent from Brownells, on the line. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Jake. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. This is starting to become natural for me.
Oh, yeah. It's good to hear.
All right. Well, we're talking about the Magpul MBus Pro sight set. So this is is this their first all-steel sight set?
Yep, this is the first all-steel sight set. They, of course, had the MBus and then the MBus Gen 2s, which really they've done very well with. Probably one of our most popular backup sights. Yeah, I was going to say iron sights, but no, they're not. They're not quite iron sights. And those do very well. They're a great price point on those, around $50 or so. They meet the needs of a lot of people. But they, of course, knew there was some demand for an all-steel sight, which is what they just came out with. A little hard to get right now. We do take back orders on these, but the MBus Pro, these just came out about a month ago. I got them mounted up here on an AUG, so you can kind of get an idea of where they sit on a Picatinny plane there.
This is a Steyr AUG. Is that yours?
Yeah, that's my personal gun. I actually bought these because it's one aspect of them is they're so low profile. You don't have to worry about the charging handle. You don't have to worry about the bolt getting in the way. It's just that small. You can charge it without racking your knuckles on the sight itself. As for the sight, they're all steel, like you mentioned, nitrided, so that finish you're not going to damage that. And the detents are very positive on these. I don't know if you could hear that over the audio, but in the down position there's a detent, and the up there's a detent. There's not a spring that keeps it held either way. So both ways it's very positive. It's not really flipping up on accident, and it's not going to go down if you just bang it against something. Again, all steel construction. Cool little aspect of these is everything is adjustable by hand. You can adjust it. They're the front sight. Luckily, I haven't zeroed this yet, so I can mess with it all day long. But it's finger adjustable by this turret here. That's elevation, of course. And then on the rear sight, it's got windage adjustability. Again, you can do that by hand. And solid clicks. It's not mushy, which I hate to see on optics or sights of any kind. That's always a big turnoff if it just feels mushy. You know, there's no way that's accurate movement if it's all sloppy like that. Another cool aspect that I noticed when I first picked this up is the rear sight. I don't think you can see this too well, but it's serrated on the rear, so you don't get much glare there, which is a nice feature. Dual plane on this. This plane flips down to the front, so there's a larger aperture night sight. Then you have your fine aperture front. Yep.
Okay, this has been a big debate on the AR-15 podcast. What is the larger aperture for?
Oh, it's traditionally the military large aperture has been for night sights. Some people claim that it's also used for just close targets, but traditionally it's been a night sight. Or they're also, you'll see that the mark 0-02 on the traditional A2 rear sights. So that's 0 to 200 meters. So you can hit a man-sized target 0 to 200 with that aperture. But when you need a bit more finer aperture, you switch to that smaller one. And then from 2 out to whatever your effective range is of your rifle, you flip that up and you're good to go.
Okay. So we had several other things that they were supposedly for.
All right. I'll have to listen to that one because I'm kind of curious now what the other ideas were. But on the as far as the plane goes, it's the same plane as standard AR sights. So say you have a fixed front sight on your AR, you can mount the rear. It's the same plane, and it's going to co-witness with your optic here. This is an aim-point PRO. This is going to co-witness with this just fine if it's mounted on the same plane right here. So really...
they're nice tall sights when they're flipped up, but yet when you flip them down, they're very low profile.
Oh, yeah. And the nice thing, too, about this, since the previous M-buses were polymer, you can now mount this, of course, to a gas block, a picotated gas block. You don't have to worry about it heating up and melting your front sight base, which is not a plus. I've never seen it happen, but there's the potential there for that. And again, the fit and finish, like any Magpul product, the fit and finish is pretty impressive on them. And for iron sights, the price point's pretty sharp on them. $99.70 for the rear sight, and most rear sights you see well over $100. And the front sight here, that's $80.70 for the front sight. So you can get a set for a pretty attractive price, really.
Well, and you have the set together on your site for $169.
Yep.
$99. So, this is going to release about 3 weeks after we record it, so it may be back in stock by then. But the thing I like about Brownells is that a lot of stuff you can back order and it comes in. As soon as you guys get it. So
yep, these are up for back order. They announced these. I was going to say late August, early September, and we expect to get these in stock fairly regularly now until they're just available all the time. But I think these are going to be pretty popular. They have been so far.
Well, I like that the front sight you can adjust without a tool, because I've broken 2 of those tools in the past.
Yep, and it's much easier than trying to get a bullet tip in there and trying to adjust it and fiddle around. And it's not. This is something that's not. You brush up against it. That's not turning. You got to be pretty deliberate with your actions to get that post to move.
Well, you obviously haven't seen how I operate. So,
all right, I won't let you borrow any of my firearms. So.
Oh, I want to shoot that AUG. That's awesome.
You're welcome to. I'll supervise.
Is that your home defense gun?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. I do need a light for it, so I'm still looking at light solutions for the AUG.
You do things in style.
Yeah, you got to.
All right. Well, if you guys want to see the Magpul Pro sight set, if you want to order a set or place a back order, go to gunguyradio.com/spotlight, and I'll have a direct link for you. Well, Paul, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
No problem. See you then.
So, Greg, what do you know about the weekly giveaway?
I know that weekly you give something away, and usually it's a Brownells gift card.
Lately, because they give me a whole stack of gift cards, so that would be why.
That's nice of them. And how do we qualify for the weekly giveaway?
Well, you can subscribe by entering our email newsletter list by going to gunguyradio.com/winner, gunguyradio.com/winner. And this week, the winner is Thomas E. I'll just say Thomas E. because I'll butcher his last name.
I think you should go for it. Butcher away.
Embry, Thomas Embry. So congrats, Thomas. You won two $10 Brownells gift cards totaling $20. And I'm getting a little low here, so we'll have to see what we have in store for, well, I mean, for sure we got some Duluth cards coming, but it's going to be weird having two giveaways in the same episode. I don't know, maybe that's too many. Is that too many giveaways? Is that a burden on the listener?
It could be. It'll cut into content, so maybe we should, I don't know, send some of those giveaways over to my podcast.
Yeah, you have a podcast? Is that on the internet?
Yeah.
Can I get that on my?
It will be soon.
Can I get that on my TV? What channel is that on? Greg,
it's an AM channel.
Can you come over and fix my DVR? So, yeah, big thanks to Brownells, and you don't forget to enter for $20 gift cards next week. All right, we're to the feedback. Let's see here. I just have one piece of feedback this week. So this listener, you want to take this, what he wrote?
Sure, I'll read it. He says, I've been meaning to...
And this has an image, so you'll have to go to gunguyradio.com/090. But go ahead, Greg.
Are we not describing the image?
No. Go ahead and describe it, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
He says, I've been meaning to write you again about previous episodes. You never cease to amaze me with guests. The other day you had the gentleman from Crossman on the show. When I saw the topic, I almost skipped it, but something inside me said to trust Jake. Sure enough, very interesting. I have not shot my Benjamin pellet gun for nearly 60 years. Through your interview, I have learned that air rifles have come a long way over the past half century. I even looked at the Crossman site and learned that some of their high-end guns cost more than even the most expensive firearms in my collection. Pretty impressive stuff. Thanks again for the great insight of what is interesting to firearms enthusiasts. I've been meaning to write since I recently completed some work in Washington, D.C. As I was walking one day, I saw your new entrepreneur venture on the 4000 block of Connecticut Avenue. He says, while you try to disguise it with different spelling, I thought this is one of the reasons you are cutting back on hosting podcasts. See the attached photo. Actually, the food is pretty good. And it's a photo of, it's kind of a restaurant front, and it says Challen's Oriental Cuisine.
Yeah, it's CHALINS. Not the same spelling, but like I was telling you, Greg, earlier, I do have kind of the right looking eyes for this
right.
Especially when I smile. So. A
Norwegian with squinty eyes.
Yes, that's right. That runs an Oriental cuisine in Washington, D.C. So. You found me out.
Yep.
So,
but
yeah, go ahead.
Do you want me to finish it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, he says, keep up the great work, Jake. While the monthly roundtables help, I relish the old episodes when you and Zach were just starting out. You have done an unbelievable job in growing the network, but I still yearn for the good old days. However, as an old man, I yearn for a lot of memorable events in my life. Hola, Chauncey.
Aloha.
What did I say?
You said hola.
Sorry. That's what I meant to say. Aloha. Sorry about that. Well,
thanks so much, Chauncey. I was thrilled to to get this. It was really made my day. Pretty funny. And you never know. Maybe the good old days of Gun Guy Radio might come back. I mean, this episode is a little bit of a throwback to that. It's not really a round table. It's more of a Greg from California. We did that truck episode together. That was one. That was what, last year?
Yeah, it was last year.
So, all right. Well, I'd like to thank Brownells for making this show possible. You can please go to gunguyradio.com/satisfaction, where you'll find selection, service, satisfaction. Find it all at Brownells. So let's, I want to hit on a couple iTunes reviews. I haven't done these forever. This is another throwback. We used to do this every week, and we used to always get to talk about negative reviews, which I haven't had for a long time, so we must be getting back to the good old days if we have a negative review. So Joe Face 530 says, I tried to like it. I couldn't get through the first show I listened to, so I tried another one to give it the benefit of a doubt. I get no sense or organization or preparedness for the show. Sounds like they're just making it up as they go. The rapport between the two hosts is weak at best. Sorry, guys. I really wanted to like the show, being a gun guy myself, but I couldn't get there. Guess. I wonder what shows... I wonder if these were interview shows or the last Firearms Insider shows.
I don't know. It's probably not one I've been on because I'm always prepared.
I've got one here that's on the wrong feed. RST Pete says disappointed 5 stars, and this has nothing to do with anything. I think I talked about. What he's criticizing here is something I talked about on This Week in Guns, but he left this on Gun Guy Radio.
What's the date on that one? Sorry.
This was back on October 4th.
Oh, sorry.
So he says, I was very disappointed in the way you all criticized the NRA on the last episode. I wonder how many members you cost them or our cause. In this day, we must stick together. You sounded more like Harry Reid than Rand Paul. I am giving you 5 stars, even though you disappointed me so drastically, because unlike you guys seem, I do not want to cause divide in our forces. Wish you the best, but I will not be listening in the future. And I'm pretty sure that stems from This Week in Guns, because I always say join the NRA at the end of the Gun Guy Radio.
I was going to say, yes, you do.
So, okay. Fair enough. AC Dude says, great firearms industry podcast. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. Love the Firearms Radio Network. Yeah, then another one wants me to bring back the good old days. So, but I really appreciate all the iTunes reviews. You can leave reviews on your podcast app, on your iPhone or iOS device, or if you're like Greg, you can have your niece show you how to do it. And, really appreciate it. We have 314 ratings in iTunes, and I'm honored that, so many people have taken the time to leave us a review. Well, I'd like to thank Duluth Trading Company again. You can go to gunguyradio.com/Duluth. I'm really excited because we're going to be reviewing some Duluth Trading Company wear on the Firearms Insider .tv on the gun and gear review part of it. Mike and Hank are going to review a couple items, and Greg, are you going to review something? Do you still?
I would love to review something.
I mean, I can't send you like a winter coat or anything like that, because what's your
How about
average?
a windbreak?
What's your average temperature? I mean,
it might get down to 30, 39, maybe.
Yeah, but then it's like up in the 80s during the day, right?
No, you're right. Yeah, I wore shorts and a T-shirt all day today, and it's October 19th. So yeah, what long tail tees? Do you have a problem with plumber's butt? I do. That's right.
Because you have an unusually high... Never mind.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to thank Ryan Cross, Hunter Design, hunterdesign.com. Ryan Cross he did all the great new artwork for the Firearms Insider. So plug that again, firearmsinsider.tv. If you look at, the different headings, we have unique page headings for the blog, the reviews, the podcast, the community. And Ryan, took the time to do some awesome work over there. So, thank you so much, Ryan. So, if you need any kind of graphics, artwork, logo design, even website design, go to hunterofdesign.com. And don't forget to use our Brownells affiliate link by going to gunguyradio.com/satisfaction. Or you can click any of the banners on the website as well. Guess this about wraps it up. You ready to go, Greg? You're looking a little worn out.
No, it's been a long day, but I'm good to go. If you want to go another hour, that's fine with me.
All right. Well, second hour of Gun Guy Radio starts now.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, you told me something about having to use the restroom, and I told you to go ahead and run in there and go, and you said, no, it's not going to be that quick. So, oh, sorry. Was I not supposed to?
You don't have to share everything we talk about off the air, Jake.
Oh, if I shared everything, we would have a plethora of 1-star reviews on iTunes. Although maybe the report, maybe that would be the kind of report that guy's looking for between the hosts.
Maybe.
More poop talk.
We need to upload a squib show.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can send feedback to jake@gunguyradio.com. Record a voicemail message using the SpeakPipe plugin on the right-hand side. Don't forget to leave us an iTunes review, and you can find us on Facebook, and also go to gunguyradio.com/090 for the show notes. And remember, join the NRA, because I cost the members, so please join them. We need to replace the ranks of whatever. I don't even know what I said.
Shame on you.
Must have been quite bad. So join the NRA and join the Second Amendment Foundation, because, we're all in this together, and they are doing awesome things out there for us in our fight for the Second Amendment. And, check out the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network. Tactical Paradise, I guess this show is on the network. I don't know. They must be... not have a very good selection process, but Tactical Paradise. No, seriously, Greg, I look forward to your show every week. You talk about all things tactical and great content. I love your carry-in lifestyle episode, California Highway Patrol. You got to check that one out with Greg Krasakis. Let's see here, some of my other favorites. Don't Be a Hero. That one is great, and I love your pose for the artwork. you and your tactical out. I guess that's your. You talk about going out in the woods a lot. I just never pictured this, but okay.
I try to keep my artwork interesting for the listeners that actually take the time to visit the website.
And, many of the other shows, we added a few new ones. The We Like Shooting podcast. They're kind of the clowns of the network. Is that harsh?
Well, is that you titling them as the clowns, or do they profess to be the clowns of the network?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't call you guys clowns. It's been a long week. No, seriously. We Like Shooting. Check it out. They already have 10 episodes, and they do this via Google Hangout. And sometimes they'll have like 8 people on, but it's always very entertaining. And they usually have like one new special guest and stuff like that. And really good show.
And the rest of them. The rest of them just don't leave. They keep coming, and then they add and add and add.
Yeah, that's what some of the episodes are like. They're like, how many people can you get in a hangout? No, it's good stuff. We like shootingpodcast.com, and they also have their own review podcast or website. So we like shooting.com. They do tons of awesome gun and gear reviews over there. So check that out. Really cool stuff. And that's actually what Zach's been up to lately. If you want to check out, what's Zach's website? The shootingbench.com?
Yeah, I think so.
The gun bench. I think it's the gun bench.
I can tell you in a second.
Yeah. Thegunbench.com is Zach's new gun and gear. And he's been writing a bunch of magazine articles and everything else. So that's where he's been super busy over there. So let me see here. But yeah, Precision Rifle Podcast, Competitive Rifle Podcast, lots of good stuff. Handgun Radio, I can't list them all. There's too much to list. Student of the Gun, I'm going to leave someone out. Someone's going to be sad. So thank you, so much for helping out, Greg. Really appreciate it.
Hey, I'm glad to be here for you.
We're like this, whatever that is.
I'm the tall one.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to meet for the first time at SHOT Show in January, so that's going to be fun.
I sure hope I can find you.
Yeah, I'm not that short. I'm 6'1".
Nice.
I just hunch over all the time, so I look like a midget.
Got it.
All right. Well, thanks, Greg. Go to tacticalparadise.com to check out Greg's show.
Yes, please do.
Signing off.
Oh, is that it? That's the end?
See you next week. Yes.
See you next week, Jake.
Thanks.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv.